Going on, everyone, all my Instagrammers, TikTokers, YouTubers, Rumblers, and Normies out there, coming at you with a new spin on an old school classic. Yesterday we talked about West Coast ramp culture. Now we're going to go ahead and kick it East Coast. Let's go ahead and start with the letters. Much love to the Grossos, Team Vans,
yeah, welcome back to the letters.
and everyone participated in the video.
Welcome back to the letters. We're here in Orange, California with this cooked eggplant, Josh Borden. Put a vert ramp in his backyard. Not too many people build vert ramps anymore, especially in their backyard. So,
The dude that Jeff is sitting with kind of looks like Retro Bird from YouTube. Just saying, the video game commentator.
this letter's going out to the old crusty vert ramp and all the wonderful sessions that used to go
Hopefully they'll mention Tom Groholski, man. He was definitely big in the East Coast scene.
down, and sometimes still do.
Groholski to tail. Welcome back again to the letters. East Coast style.
All the skate parks from the 70s closed down because of the fucking insurance problem. There's this giant void in skateboarding. The industry doesn't really know what to do, so backyard ramps started popping up.
And that still seemed to be the crux to this day. I mentioned it a little bit yesterday on the show on the West Coast gimmick. That is now still like places like I'm here in Fort Myers, so like even the local skate park down here, House of Ride Nature. Definitely go check them out. Go skate it. Definitely not now because the ramp and the street course is still under construction. But the shop, I always emphasize, if you're going to buy your skate accessories, your skateboards, and or skate rags, always do it local. Avoid the zoomies. Let's go ahead and support that local skate scene. But no, like I touched yesterday, basically some of these skate parks, they want you to sign a waiver. They want you to wear protection. They want you to wear helmets. They definitely want to cover their aspect, or definitely cover their end of the spectrum. They're like, they see skateboarding as kind of like a liability. They're like, oh no, if this kid cracks his coconut and we don't cover our end, their parents could get. It was basically kind of like a children, but adults, we don't really have to think about this as much because most adults are either covered by HMOs or some kind of health option or some junk.
They're just trying to keep skateboarding alive, man. So, kids started building shit in the backyards. And
it's like some of the stuff we used to build.
Up from there.
Shoot, like some of the first ramp designs that I saw only had one section for riders to stand on. The other one was like only about 4 inches, maybe 6 inches at the most. And like whenever I dropped in, I wasn't a vert skater. See, those things always flip me out. What always got me on a vert session is that you whoosh. That's what I call it. I call it a whoosh when you drop in. And if you whoosh good, what do you do with all that freaking momentum when you get to the other side? Usually I would rock fakie or I'd truck stall. I'm no airman. I left that to the professionals. But it leaves you wondering, what do you do with that momentum when you get to the other
So
side?
I'm going to try to get some footage
Real
of some
talk.
of these East Coast rippers for your viewing enjoyment.
For your viewing pleasure.
We became a tight-knit group, man. Survivors, man.
Groholski. Vision greatness in the house. Let's give it up, everybody. Yours and mine. Tom Groholski. Matter of fact, Mick Rad, John Treese did a song about him, and I always tried to do a Groholski to tail, but I never could because I'd always chicken out. Groholski to tail.
To communicate with others as to what's going on.
The zines.
A contest at a ramp, just to,
The original Jersey Rap
hey,
Devil
man, we're still doing
himself.
it,
Yeah, the whole DIY punk ethos.
We're so tight knit, and we're just pushing each other, man. Charge it,
Yeah.
And just various splintery wooden ramps,
You had Hell Ramp, that's Maryland, and then you got Cedar Crest.
What's up,
And it's really why I want to do the love letter because I'm a big fan of Cedar Crest. It's the biggest regret I have in skateboarding is that I didn't.
Cedar Crest. Man, it would be a sin not to mention this place. East Coast greatness. Not only was it in the Molecules in Motion video, I think it was also in it was always in the Gullwing. It was always in the Gullwing videos, man. Heck yeah, you can't miss it for its iconic freaking red design. And you'd see it was like a boardwalk that went in between them, and it was like pretty much kind of like an assembly. It looked like an assembly line. Everybody was waiting their turn. You saw greats like Gator, Jason Jesse. Hell, everybody that was either on Gullwing or on Vision pretty much skated that ramp. But Cedar Crest.
Didn't go to Cedar Crest because I was so fucking in love with it.
This is Cedar Crest Country Club.
Before they built the
boardwalk.
boardwalk.
Going all around the country.
Yeah, that's memory.
Here have.
Always will remind me of Molecules, you know. Definitely Gullwing. This screams Gullwing. Check out that video. All the old school videos from Gullwing are badass. Inside Out. Not the Disney movie, the Gullwing video.
So the early ones, they were all wood, and splinters were deadly, and wood breaks down real quick. You know, you put wood sideways at first, it was real slow, then you put it vertically and soak the sheets and water and that to get it to bend. This was all like kids just picking up skill saws trying to figure it out.
Hey, and my homies.
Darren Navarrete. We're polarized, east and west.
He's a
Here, so
he's a polarized. He's skating his ramblings.
There's a whole land in the middle. So we need Darren to fill in the gap.
Well, that's what the Dice Man used to always say when he got on the mic. Hey, yo, there's like New York and Los Angeles, and then there's that shit in the middle over there, yo. That's not me. That's the Dice Man.
Yeah.
The Midwest. No one thinks about the Midwest. I think about the Midwest because I'm from the Midwest. I don't know. Is it intimate okay to use in this skateboarding thing? Because it was just intimate to go there.
And
there's 5 people, 6 people. It wasn't about trophies. It wasn't about stadiums. It was backyard. It was outcast.
And every ramp you went to, it didn't matter where on the map, whether it was fucking Europe or Indiana.
Yeah, small crew.
You know, you were walking into a crew of 6 to 10 dudes, you know.
Real talk, I never really kept up with the Midwest scene. Really, you know, don't kill me. Don't shoot the host or the messenger. Leave it in the chat. If y'all are Midwest and y'all are freaking strong and Midwest deep, let me know. The only thing I can really say, like Midwest style, and I can't really call it Midwest because Colorado, I may be wrong. Colorado's pretty much considered the West, isn't it? And I've skated Colorado, and I've even mentioned it on the last video when we were mentioning West Coast type feel. Yes, North Glen has pop. Yes, Fort Collins has pop. Yes, the metropolitan Denver area, you want a radical skate scene, hella pop. And there's some pushers out there, there's some stunt wooders out there that, man, they drop in. Dude, they're good out there. Some of them, like when I was in Loveland at and I'm freaking, it's either McCreary or it's a relatively new one out there in the sticks next to the front range. Man, that's a good park as well. Loveland, Colorado, Fort Collins, the Nightmare at Northside. They got a killer wall there. I always like that one, and it's not uncommon to see somebody making it live, get some sick ass air. Vert hasn't died. It's just, you know, kind of amalgamated and mutated into, you know, what we call street style back then. But it's just skating. It's all just skating to me, really.
But maybe 3 or 4 real serious dudes.
6 to 10 if you're lucky.
If you were lucky.
Surprised they didn't talk about the Virginia Beach contest where Gator hit a cop. That was cool.
Boris Wainwright. he's gonna try to educate us on East Coast, because I'm just a West Coast kid, and I didn't really get to spend too much time back in the Vert heyday back there. Tell the people what you know. What do you know?
Oh, we're talking about ramps, so that's what we did, because that's what we had, with a piece of plywood with the sticks to prop it up, and then we built like another stick to prop it up a little higher, and then I think the last year I was in high school was like 80. We made it a half pipe.
Nice.
You know, you start hearing about more and more ramps, like, you know, an hour away, 2 hours away, and the community just kept building, and we just started like traveling to other people's ramps and building more and more.
And then slowly but surely, this whole kind of ramp network, I guess.
And I've even heard of tales like where skaters would come, and these ramps would be somewhere in the sticks, and notice how here in the shot, moths would be like camping out, sleeping over people's houses just to get some ramp time in. This was definitely deep, way before corporate got their hands into it, way before a freaking X Games, way before a Mountain Dew, way before they even started calling it motherfucking extreme sports. Heck, we were viewed as oddballs and outcasts if you did skate back then. I can recall many times of my freaking skateboard getting thrown in the canal just because some jock didn't like it.
I guess kind of like punk rock. Like there were cliques of dudes. We got our ramp. We're these guys. You know. Then you get into all those teams and stuff like that. Like, where are you from?
Yeah.
And then you get the Toke team and Team Steam and all kinds.
The loud ones.
Yeah, the Fort Crew in Virginia Beach. Right. Everybody's repping their local spot, and their local spot is usually a 8-foot transition foot of vert, 24-foot wide piece of shit.
That's nuts, yo.
It was you and your friends only. There was no kook on some fucking longboard or rollerblades or fucking stupid scooter thing, or dad trying
Get
to
that
stand
shit
in the way
outta
of the
here.
middle of the bowl, or
I ain't no
some kid
helicopter
with a
parents.
control
What the fuck
car, or
is
some
that?
other dumbass running around the park.
Nice. Facts.
I bumped heads so hard with Blaize, like the first 5 times I met him. It's the single reason I chickened out of going to the East Coast. Fucking frontside sliders with his hand down, some of the most beautiful Andrix you've ever seen. Had a slob fast plant from hell. And I was so horrified because I had so much beef with Blaize because he had just such a fuck you attitude.
He was arrogant.
And you know what? That's cool that freaking Jeff shared that. I had a beef with this freaking kid named Farrell. That was just, that skated in our neighborhood. Maybe it was just me. He always thought he knew the coolest tricks, and he'd roll up on the coolest skateboard, and he'd always thought his freaking axle stall to fakie was. We all had that, But me, I leaned toward my homie Nick, man. Nick, he was breaking ground for all of us, and he didn't need to be a show off, because you know what? He didn't speak. He let his freaking movements freaking tell the tale. Like the day I can recall back in '88 when he, was first in our crew to land the ollie. I kind of like stood in amazement, because not only was he like breaking gravity and breaking the barrier, I felt like it's funny that I say this. It's kind of like getting made in the mafia a little bit. When he made that trick, a little piece of me made it with him. I eventually learned ollie, but when Nick did it that day, it was like, oh. And you'll see me ride his bag on this show all the time. Yes, he's still alive. We don't communicate as much. I'm going to reach out to him, man. I need a badass skate story to go with the letters. But no, I could definitely tell where Jeff is talking about rivals. I can relate, because there's always that schmuckhead, that chode, that always thinks that he knows better, or he's got the Iggy, and that he's got more pop. Don't let it fool you. Those are the ones, what do they say, the ones that bark the loudest, right?
Yeah, but he could back it fucking up, like he couldn't say shit. Yeah, when the
wouldn't be able to
dude
back it
dropped
up,
in, he'd fucking humble you.
Nick had the skills to pay the bills. and didn't have to say squat.
Dude, I just got a history lesson right there. I've never heard any of those, like,
This
ramp
was all
names.
way before his time. Yeah. Because of that, because of those ramps and stuff, skateboarding jumped too. The amount of the progression that came out of all of that,
Woodwork.
of going back and
All
forth.
these
Neil Blair
skate
calls it the
schools
swing
started
set,
to
back
pop
and
up.
forth, back and forth. And after a while, the powers that be, the collective they, decided that it was too elitist, because not every kid has access to building,
Exactly.
you know, a $15,000 or back then a $5,000 vertical facility. You know, so then they actively pushed to go to street.
And you know, the thing is that there he said it, and it pushed it into the streets, which in turn it's always been into the streets. As far as I can recall, even getting into skateboarding, the first time I saw a cat on the skateboard, I wanted to be like them. Sitting on a bus, you know, maybe 5 years old, I see it freaking somebody riding around with bandanas and a boombox on his head and on his shoulder, like a modern day 1980s Chad Muska doing power slides and shove-its on his skateboard as he's going past my bus, and I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world. You know, skateboarding doesn't know you shit, but we owe it to remember. So, like always, let's go ahead in closing. Same pig time, same pig channel for the letters. And yeah, you know what to do. Down at the bottom. We'll catch you later.
And that's when street skating was born.